Hey folks, Charlie in Westeros here as per usual. Today I thought I'd try something a little different and combine something akin to my theory videos with my typical house list videos. As such, I will be discussing 5 things I truly think need to happen by the end of Game of Thrones and A Song of Ice and Fire. Naturally, I can't guarantee anything, and while some things might appear self-evident on this list, I have no doubt that some people will disagree with me on them. If you count yourself as one of them, I do hope you'll share your alternative thoughts on the matter. Anyway, enough faffing, here is the video. Number 1. Prophecies. The Valonqar Prophecy / Arya's List. So this point was mainly applicable to the books, but in actuality does hold some merit for the show, especially with respect to Arya's kill list. What I mean is this. The book series has emphasized a prophecy Cersei received in her youth from Maggie the Frog, a prophecy indicating that she would die at the hands of the Valonqar, the Valyrian word for little brother. This caused many fans to suspect the likes of Tyrion or Jaime, as well as a host of characters that are, quote, younger brothers of other characters in the book series, as the ones to end Cersei's life. Naturally, if you are a show watcher only, you would have seen an incomplete version of this prophecy by Maggie the Frog, limiting her predictions to the deaths of Cersei's offspring, and making no mention of the Lannister Queen's ultimate demise. This is where I think mentioning Arya's kill list comes in handy. Although she wasn't exactly successful at completing her list at first in the show, it would seem that with her execution of Meryn Trent in Season 5 and Walder Frey in Season 6, she's now well on her way of making her mission a reality. At the moment, and in the show, there are only 2 individuals left on that list, the Mountain and Cersei Lannister. Although Arya's much lengthier kill list also features prominently in the books, she has yet to do much work on it, and although this could be a result of the books now falling behind events in the show, I am strongly inclined to think its significance is lessened in the books, particularly as far as Cersei's fate is concerned, given the prominence of the Valonqar prophecy in A Song of Ice and Fire. As a result, it would almost appear that Arya's kill list is acting as a show substitute to the Valonqar prophecy from the books. Now, the series, particularly in its written format, has featured many prophecies and premonitions, if you will, but these 2 are some of the most significant ones in both mediums that appear to relate to one another in some way. Put mildly, they both take a stab, if you will, in indicating the individual who will be responsible in killing Cersei Lannister, and that killer might be very different between the books and the show. To sum up my first point, it is safe to say that these predictions demonstrate that Cersei Lannister will not survive till the end of the series. And, if I may take the fact of Cersei's death a step further into prediction territory, I would dare to say that Arya will be the one who ends the Mad Queen's life in the show, and likely one of Cersei's younger brothers, or, yes, a younger brother in general, or even someone appearing as a younger brother, who will kill her off in the books. But of course, that part of this fact, if you will, is mainly speculative. Number 2, of White Walkers in the Iron Throne. An end in sight? The end. Obviously, all things that have a beginning presumably must have an end at some point, and perhaps this point is rather self-evident and goes without saying, but it is something that merits mentioning on this list in some capacity, and that is the end with respect to the White Walkers and the Iron Throne. While the White Walkers appear to be the greater force of opposition in the story, the symbol of the Iron Throne is perhaps the prime source of the conflict within the Game of Thrones universe, given the threat north of the Wall is pretty much unknown to everyone living in Westeros proper. As such, the series, especially in its televised format, will have to provide some sort of resolution for the interhuman conflicts over the Iron Throne. Though many have theorized that there will not be an Iron Throne or a monarch to rule Westeros by the end of the series, George R. Martin has apparently revealed to both Benioff and Weiss the identity of the person who will sit the Iron Throne in the end. Though the author and the show creators could be trying to mislead us, this does seem to be a strong indication that not only will the Iron Throne still exist by the end, but we will find out who will sit the throne in order to rule Westeros. Now, turning back to the White Walkers, I'm going to provide a bit more of a personal opinion on this one more than anything else. Throughout the long existence of A Song of Ice and Fire, many have created truly in-depth thoughts and theories surrounding the White Walkers, including notions such as that they are merely a misunderstood or endangered race trying to find refuge in Westeros proper. That said, I think the truth behind the creation, as revealed this past 6th season, is enough to demonstrate their true purpose as a weapon created by the Children of the Forest, hell-bent on destroying humanity. Perhaps many will disagree with me on this, but I think that given their nefarious role thus far, the series will have to end with the ultimate demise of the White Walkers / others for good. I realize this point could have been divided into two, but since I've already done a video on White Walkers, I feel that a more in-depth look at their role can be found in that one. Number 3. The events of Robert's Rebellion. The general events surrounding Robert's Rebellion are pretty well known to most fans of the books and TV show, but it is especially true for those who have read The World of Ice and Fire. Nevertheless, there are still some important questions that remain, especially surrounding the relationship of Rhaegar and Lyanna between the events of the tourney at Harrenhal and the fight at the Tower of Joy. More specifically, what was the nature of Rhaegar and Lyanna's relationship? What was the true motivation for Rhaegar's actions? Did Rhaegar marry Lyanna? What of the specifics surrounding both Daenerys and Jon Snow's birth? I have no doubt we'll find out the answer to these questions very soon, particularly in Game of Thrones. I think the significance of these events during Robert's Rebellion will prove to be of paramount importance in the series, and as a result, it is a fact that we must find out what transpired at the time. Until then, however, you can hear my own personal thoughts and theories on the matter in, yes, yet again, another one of my video series. Number 4. Jon Snow Unmasked. By this point in the story, it should certainly come as no surprise that, spoiler alert, Jon Snow is the child of Lyanna Stark and Rhaegar Targaryen. That said, however, the long and short-term ramifications of this truth are still unknown. What happens once both Jon Snow and other prominent members of Westerosi society uncover the truth of his parentage? What happens more generally once this fact is uncovered? What does this mean for future interactions with Jon and Daenerys, especially if Jon Snow is legitimized? Would the Mother of Dragons be prepared to share the Iron Throne or even step aside for her nephew? There are so many questions to ask based merely around the truth of Jon's parentage that I have no doubt it is a topic that must absolutely be broached in the series. Other than the direct consequences of this, however, another important question to ask is, who will find out the truth? Will it be a specific restricted group of people, or will this fact be something gradually revealed to the entire population of Westeros rather than remain a secret hidden to the histories of the land? Personally, I am leaning towards the latter of the two options. Regardless of the outcome of the Iron Throne and the rulership of the realm, however, I think Jon Snow's origins are something that will solidify his true role as a leader against the threat of the White Walkers north of the Wall. While the effects of this revelation are certainly something that can be debated, I think we can all agree that the effects, whatever they are, will be, without a doubt, truly noteworthy. Number 5. The truth behind the tragedy at Summerhall. While on the grand scheme of things in Game of Thrones, the tragedy of Summerhall is relatively minor, it is still something I personally find quite fascinating and is something that appears to be of significance in the book series of A Song of Ice and Fire. This is especially true with respect to the eventual and inevitable conclusion to the tales of Dunk and Egg, given that it appears to be the place at which both Sir Duncan the Tall and Egg, aka Aegon V Targaryen, lost their lives. While the tragedy is generally important when one considers the, quote, prince that was promised prophecy, George R. Martin has played up the event's importance in the manner that it is discussed in The World of Ice and Fire. That is, a page from Archmaester Gildane's History of House Targaryen hints at the true happenings at Summerhall, but of course, as shown in the World of Ice and Fire book, a mishap conveniently led to ink blotting out much of the information, giving us only a hint at what transpired. The blood of the dragon gathered in one. 7 eggs to honor the 7 gods, though the king's own septon had warned. Pyromancers. Wildfire. Flames grew out of control. Towering. Burned so hot that... died, but for the valor of the Lord command. With such an enigmatic manner of broaching the subject, there is clearly important information that remains to be seen, and, yes, most likely in the form of a final Dunk and Egg novella. As a result, this is one piece of information that might actually only be revealed even after the conclusion of Game of Thrones and A Song of Ice and Fire, and as a result may not truly fit in this list, but given the central importance of the Dunk and Egg tales to the Song of Ice and Fire, I do feel compelled to include it nonetheless. Well, folks, this concludes somewhat of a different video for my channel. Do you agree with all of my thoughts on those things that must happen by the end of Game of Thrones and A Song of Ice and Fire? Do you disagree with any? Either way, please do share your thoughts on the matter. Even if I feel a certain way about these 5 things, I am sure there are some out there who will disagree with me. Anyways, that's all for today. As always, please don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel if you enjoyed. And of course, I will see you all next time.